Welcome to the Good News Bay podcast, where we are making Bay County brighter one conversation at a time. My name's Steve Taylor. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Well, welcome to the Good News Bay podcast. We are so excited today to have a guest that I've actually wanted to interview for quite some time. We both pull hard for Bay County and try to cheer our community on, and have done that since before the hurricane. We measure a lot of things that way. Yes. But we have with us today Kim Bodine, who is the Executive Director for CareerSource Gulf Coast. And I think in short terms, that means that you help an awful lot of employers get employees, and you help people that want to be employees get a job.
Absolutely. That's one of the things we do, and that's a big part of what we do.
I know that, well, let me give a little background on you so they'll know a little bit about who you are. You're married to a very nice man, at least you think so for sure, named Mr. Bob. He's not Mr. Bob. You call him Bob, don't you?
Yes, I do.
You got two boys. You're a boy mom?
Yes, I am.
Ryan and Noah, and they're full-grown men.
Yes, they are.
But
they're still my boys.
They're your boys. They'll always be your babies.
Absolutely, they will.
And one of the things that I think is neat about today is that you have a little bit of experience. You've been doing what you've been doing for 32 years. And so when we start talking about jobs in Bay County and this community, you moved here when you were, I think you told me you were 5 when y'all moved here from Mobile.
That's right.
And you told me you even like the beach, which does not shock me at all.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? And so there's a lot of good news to share about our community. Surely there are some tough things happening in life. There's always things going on. But there's some great things happening in not just Bay County, but Gulf County and Franklin. Isn't it Franklin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I have all three.
So you guys work and operate in all three of those. Let's talk a little bit about what that actually entails. You told me about 3 buckets. So we're just going to jump into the buckets because there's a lot of complexities by virtue of the fact that a lot of the funding y'all have comes through government funding, either national or federal, correct?
Yes. All of our funds, with the exception of some foundation grants that we have, are federal funds that come through the state of Florida. And we have about 30 funding streams, so they all have their own rules and regulations. And so that part's really complicated. But that's not the part that I want people to understand about CareerSource, because we call that the sausage making in the background.
Yep.
But when we're working with customers, we don't want them to have to think about all of that. So we just try to appear seamless in what we do. I like to put what we do in 3 buckets.
All right.
Because it's just easier for people to kind of grasp. The first bucket is training. We do scholarships for training for adults and for dislocated workers, and those are individuals who've lost their job due to no fault of their own. When you think about the paper mill shutting down, we helped a number of the individuals who were laid off at the paper mill to get through CDL training so that they had a next career after they left the paper mill. That's an example. And then we also serve youth, and our youth are between the ages of 18 and 24, and they have to be eligible for our programs. And so that's sort of the training bucket.
So there may be some parents out here that are listening that have, or grandparents that have an 18 to 24-year-old, and they know they need a job and they don't have a job, and so they may need to actually go to the link that's found in the show notes and contact. Well, go down there and see y'all. Really.
Yes, absolutely. We would love for grandparents and parents to encourage their youth to do that.
It takes that sometimes.
It does take that sometimes. We are about to get in our push for enrolling students for our summer program. And so we do with them, first of all, we get them through eligibility. Then we have 3 or 4 days of employability skills training where we talk about work ethic and work etiquette and some assessment testing for finding information. And we do financial literacy with them and talk about when they start getting paid, what they'll need to do with their money. We have the staffing firm come in and talk to them about how they'll be paid through the staffing firm. And so after that, we match them up with a career that they're interested in. And we do a paid 4 to 6 week internship with the company. Oftentimes at the end of that internship, the company will hire them on full-time permanent. We work with companies and we let them know that we really want you to consider interning if you have a position that's available. Okay. Because this is really the whole purpose, is to get them a job. But those internships are invaluable. The employers that work with us on that, they love doing it. and it's such a good starting point for kids. Sometimes those students will end their internship and go on to post-secondary, and that's okay too. We're going to help them, get placed in post-secondary if they need that.
When you say post-secondary, what, just for those that are listening?
So a lot of our kids go to Gulf Coast State College or Haney Technical Center. Some of them do go to FSU PC, and then some of them go abroad to other places. But a lot of them stay here.
So some of them could end up getting a job from the internship. Others are getting great experience, something to put on their resume, then go get more education for a job in the future.
Yes, and then sometimes we have those that do both. They stay on part-time with their internship company that hires them, and they go to school as well.
Now, you were describing the buckets, and I successfully led you off that. So let me make sure we got bucket number one right. That we're training for adults that have lost their jobs, but we're also talking about the youth program is within that because these are people that are seeking jobs.
Right. And we also serve adults who are economically disadvantaged that are going to training for a demand occupation. So a lot of those are the allied health programs, welding, electrical, A&P program at Haney. There's a number of programs that we can help people fund their training with.
So if they're looking for a job in a trade, they can come and get consultation from you guys and some direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. So that's bucket one. Bucket number two, what is that?
Bucket number two is what you talked about earlier. Okay. So employer and job seeker services and labor market information. We have a host of individuals that work at our center. It's on Highway 231 in Bay County. And so when someone comes in and they're looking for a job, we can help them get a resume together. We can help them get registered in the state of Florida's job matching system. And on the flip side of that, we're working with employers who want to post their jobs in the job matching system. So last year we posted over 4,000 positions for in the job matching system. But in each of those positions, sometimes there were 10 to 20 openings. And so it was a lot of jobs that we posted in the system. And we help people every day that come in, and we give them leads for what looks like their background experience is suitable for. And so we try to match them up with employers. We also have job fairs as part of our employer services.
Y'all do job fairs often upon request of an employer, and
yes.
There's some you probably do annually, right?
We do. We could do a couple annually. We did our big one in early March, and that job fair, we had 550 people attend, job seekers. We had 35 employers. But on a weekly basis in our center, we have a job fair that's hosted. Sometimes we have 2 job fairs that week. And then, of course, a company can ask us. We've done several job fairs for Eastern Shipbuilding. And so it just depends on what people are looking for and asking for. But we do a lot of job fairs. And it's a good way for employers to see a lot of people at one time.
Cool. So let's talk about a third bucket. It involves partnership and some work y'all do in the community.
So this is a very important bucket. We have a lot of great partners in our 3 counties. Our county commissions are partners of ours. In fact, they appoint all the members to my board of directors. You can't be on our board unless a county commission appoints you to our board. So they're one of our biggest partners. But we also partner very closely with education, both post-secondary, so Gulf Coast, Haney, FSU PC, and even outside of our area. If there's a training that someone needs that we can't provide in this area, we would work with them at another institution that's close by. K through 12 is a big partner of ours. We work with them on career pathways and some of the in-school academies that they have. We help to promote those.
You confused me a little bit. K through 12, is that an entity?
It's the K through 12 school system.
Okay.
So kindergarten to 12th grade.
So any of the schools that are within that. Does that for us, does that mean Bay District and Gulf County schools and those kind of things?
Yes, and Franklin County schools.
Okay, got it.
So a lot of people may not be aware that schools now, even at the middle school level, have career academies and career technical training that helps to get them interested in career pathways, and also they can leave with a certification. Yeah. And so it's a lot of work to set those things up. So I applaud our schools for all the work they've done in that across all 3 counties. Yeah. But we're big believers in that. And sometimes it's not even that the kid falls in love with this career academy. Sometimes it's that I know I don't want to do that. Yeah. Before they get into college, they can sort of figure out this is something I really like, this is something I don't like so much. And sometimes it just keeps them in school.
Well, I'll throw two examples out there because I've had enough interviews with different entities. We did an interview with Haney and we talked about some of their accreditations. But I know that like a culinary arts program, if a high schooler, for instance, in one of the different high schools has a culinary arts program and they learn how to prepare vegetables and certain skills that go with that and have the accreditation, then they go to get a summer job. They've got more skills and training than others, and so therefore their starting pay could end up being better.
Exactly.
Or they at least know how to cook for themselves later on if they don't want to be. If they don't want to, that's not what they want to do. They want to go work on a boat or something. And then the welding side is really incredible because there's some great paying jobs for welding, and the idea that you can actually learn some of that while you're in high school is a pretty neat thing.
Yeah, I agree. And to be honest, welding is sort of a younger man's game or a younger woman's game. It's very hard work. So the younger you can start, I think, the better. And they pay very well.
You know, this is an interesting combination, but we had a high school student that went to North Bay Haven that was a member of our church, and he actually took a class in welding while he was in high school, wanting to become, I believe it was a mechanical engineer. So now he has the ability to be a welder, like know how to do the actual work and know the kind of theoretical engineering background. So what do you think he's going to be worth when he gets out of school?
A lot.
Yeah.
He's going to be paid a lot of money. We've had participants come out of programs making $35 an hour in welding. It is a very, very in-demand occupation. And like I said, it's tough. It's strenuous.
If they're looking to learn skills in the trades, I hear a lot of talk, from people that have a plumbing need and can't find a plumber, or also contractors that are struggling to get enough of the tradesmen. If they want to know how to get into one of those fields, can they come into the office and talk to somebody?
Sure. They can come into our office or they can go to Haney directly. They have wonderful programs there. And in the years that I've been doing this, it's been really heartwarming for me to see in the last couple of years a resurgence of younger people going to Gulf Coast State College and to Haney Technical Center. Their enrollment is up. I think they filled their classes at Haney both of the last semesters. And at Gulf Coast, there's been an increase in enrollment too. So this education in the trades is, for years we talked about this. This is a problem. We're asking everybody to go to college. We're pushing everybody towards college. I really am starting to feel like it's taking root, that young people understand college isn't for everybody. It's great for some people, and we need skilled trades workers. So I'm really optimistic about where that's headed.
I hope it's okay to say it this way, but from what I'm understanding, not everybody should go to college, but everybody should have a job.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're here to help. This is good.
We would love for everybody to have a job, yes. And I'm sure our employers would love that too. But in terms of our other partners, we also partner closely with the military bases. We are part of the TAP program, and so all transitioning military members go through the Transition Assistance Program. But we also have partnered with them over the years on different things.
So a couple of things that we talked about in our pre-interview with the military side that I think is cool. Number one is that if there's military families that move here, so they've maybe got a spouse and who's non-military, y'all have a special program to help those military spouses to actually get a job and kind of give preference to people that are military spouses, right?
We do. We value the military community in our job center and all the job centers across the state of Florida. They are a valuable source of skilled individuals who are going to leave the military and plant themselves somewhere. And we want them to plant themselves here because, we find with military spouses especially, they're problem solvers. They're easily, they've already had some really good training, but they're easily trained. And often they have a broader sense because they've traveled among even different countries. So we have military family and spouse specialists who specialize in working with military spouses who are relocating to this area. We also have veteran services specialists in our centers that help transitioning military members. We have special grants for military members. So we do a lot for them, and we just think they're like our secret weapon when we're recruiting companies in, because we have these exiting military.
If somebody doesn't know Bay County, you may not know just how pro-military and pro-Air Force we are. But we are certainly. There are a lot of retired military that lives here. We hear the planes fly over, and we say that's the sounds of freedom.
It is.
And we know it's a huge part of our community. One thing that I would add, if I may, about those that have been in the military, I've learned as a pastor that all these families that have moved to town, if I identify somebody that has a military background, generally they're a lot more at ease in going into a new place and a new class. Mm-hmm. But what that would mean for the employer is that they're going to be able to talk to people. And they're used to all kind of different surroundings. They can handle conversations and transitions. And honestly, that's just a really good trait to have in any of the people-oriented mm-hmm. kinds of trades that you might be wanting to hire somebody in.
Yeah, they're mission focused.
They are.
I mean, we have employers that ask us to specifically, if we have veterans that are in our queue that have these skill sets, and even if they don't, to send us those. That's who we want to talk to first. So
you kind of gave me a cue, and I'm going to jump on it with the idea of hiring some of those that come with a military background and being mm-hmm. partners, because I've learned that oftentimes there are folks that are in the military, they may be getting out of the military, maybe retiring. They've got a lot of really unique trades at times. And if we, for instance, have an aeronautical company that comes here mm-hmm. or somebody that's in that deals with the kind of trades and skills that they have, that is a great fit, highly trained employee, and you're trying to create a workforce for companies that would be coming. Like, this is a big win for potential companies in Bay County, right?
It is. And it's one of the things that we market the most when we're talking to prospective employers, because it is such a good part of our workforce that we can brag about, that we have these military veterans living in our community with very high skill sets. So, that's something that not every community has that. And so we really feel like that gives us a leg up in some of these prospect meetings.
Well, I do my best to say this a lot because I'm proud of it, and I'm not just proud of our community, but I'm proud we've got advocates, among whom you are one. Mm-hmm. And it is a group of folks that are consistently going other places and showing them why they should bring their business to the Bay County area. And in some ways, like Jennifer Connolly, she's with Florida's Great Northwest, mm-hmm. and so she's advocating for all the counties. You've got 3 counties that you would kind of be trying to help employers want to come to. And Becca's over the Bay County Economic Development Alliance. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I reached out to her today, and I know y'all are friends, but I said, tell me a little bit about your friend Kim. Like, tell me how important is what she does when y'all give a pitch to a company that might want to come to our community. And she said, CareerSource Gulf Coast is a critical partner in everything we do. The number one question we get from prospective companies is, how can you meet my workforce needs? And CareerSource has the answers. And honestly, y'all sit in rooms and figure out, how are we going to get these 400 employees, these 250 employees? And can Haney help us? And they're mm-hmm. in the room too.
Yes.
Can the colleges help us? You've got great networks and partners with Gulf Coast State College and Dr. Hannah over at FSUPC. Mm-hmm. They probably are just a phone call away, right? But whether we're talking about nursing or engineering or some space, not space exploration, because we got companies that deal with planes that are wanting to come here.
Right. Aerospace.
Yeah, aerospace. And so we're making connections between the military, local workforce, to be able to pull together what these companies need. And I think I'm hearing that not every community has what we have.
Oh, they don't. I can tell you that that's one of the comments that we hear. And first of all, that was a very kind comment from Becca to say that. But we want to partner with them because we want to bring good jobs into this community. And we have something that other communities don't. The reason I know this is not because we just think it, but when we have prospects come in and visit who are talking about investing several tens of millions of dollars, sometimes $1 billion or more in a community, and they come in and everyone is there that they need to talk to in this one room. And we talk about all of their concerns, everything we can do to help them, and they leave and they tell us that when they go to other communities, sometimes they go in a room and the people that are working with them from the community don't even know each other. Mm-hmm. And it's not a consolidated effort. It's very sporadic. They'll visit one person and then they'll visit another person. It might be, the county chairman of the county commission. It might be a mayor of a certain city, but they don't have all of the partners at the table. Becca does a very good job of that. And I had joked for a while, and we have been super busy because, she's a go-getter. So
she is.
She's one of those
people. She's
people.
A competitor. Have you ever heard about her basketball career? Yeah. I mean, she wants to win.
She never gives up. So it's hard to compete with someone who never gives up. But she had so many prospects a certain year, not that she doesn't now, that I would joke with people and say, well, I actually think I work for Becca because I was in so many economic development meetings. But, Becca's office and my office and Jennifer Connolly's office is all in the same building on the campus of Gulf Coast State College, just across the street from FSUPC and a short drive from Haney. But we all work together closely to bring good things into our community.
I think that is excellent. I think it's super. You've talked about how well you said K through 12, and it took me a second to get it. But you're saying we work well with the school districts. We work well with the local colleges and educational spaces. We work well with the military. You also work with employers. If employers wanted to reach out to you, they could give you a phone call, right?
Absolutely. They can give me a phone call. They can call our center. I'll put in the show notes the numbers. And I'd like to give a person that businesses could call because we have someone that's over business services, and that's the quickest way to get some help.
And if they're a person that's looking for a job, you told me it's better for them to come in person because then you have a counselor that can take their information and help them immediately and guide them to where they need to go.
Yeah, it's better to walk in the center if you can. If you can't, there's virtual services available. But when you come into the center, they can sort of assess what you need and also tell you about any special grants we have at that time that you might be eligible for that we don't have all the time. So it's always better if you can come into the center.
Let's talk a little bit about the successes. I know there's some testimonies that I thought were really cool that I saw online. I'm sure there's a link to some of that, which is neat. And you thrive. You look at you smiling big. You thrive on seeing the success stories. Some of those have come, for instance, through the medical side of things and the nursing program. You said that there's a lot of scholarships that local students take advantage of. And you said that a lot of them are they're getting a job here locally through that. Is that right?
Oh, yes. We fund a lot of allied health programs. We fund LPN students. We fund RN students. We fund some of the dental student programs, dental hygiene. And we can do respiratory or radiologic technology if there's students that are interested in that. We fund those because they're in such demand that I don't think I can recall ever that we've had a student that completed the program that didn't go to work in a job immediately. And our placement rate last year, we had about 95 scholarships, not just in medical, in all across the board. And their wage at placement was over $27 an hour.
That's good.
So it's a pretty good program. It's the nursing programs are tough. You've got prerequisites to get through before you can get into the program. Oh. So it's longer than a 2-year program, but the payoff is amazing.
Well, and there's not a person listening that doesn't think that we are not going to be better as a community for training more medical professionals. And, it's probably a whole different podcast, but there's, you've got what locally they're building a new hospital out on the beach. We're going to have, it's going to be a research hospital. Florida State has a hand in some of that. And so that's all going to be another part of what you guys are involved in as well, and another win for our community. I want to connect just a couple more dots. Locally, like today, I saw a headline where I think it was Becca and the Economic Development Alliance announcing that Oxford Technologies is coming to town. And this is a company that I believe makes helicopter blades for Black Hawk helicopters or something to do with that.
They make an edge on the blades of Black Hawk helicopters, as I understand it. And that's going to be a great company. They were at the EDA meeting. The husbands of the 2 wives who are like the president and the operations, the CEO and the operations director. And they love this community. They loved coming into this community. They think it's the best place for them to be. And we get that a lot. We get that a lot from prospects when they come in. And it's going to be a great company for us. 40 jobs, but highly skilled jobs. And that number could grow as well. So it's exciting news. I mean, we get to do the very best work because we're always in the place where we can help people. Yep. And we can do good things for people that changes their life, that impacts their life for the better. And even in bad times when we're doing work, we're still helping people. And I can tell you that this community is a very giving and supportive community. I saw it after the hurricane. I mean, people were very, very gracious with one another and with our employees. And even after the pandemic, we were opening at one point at 4 o'clock in the morning because, the system for unemployment crashed. And, nobody expected the system to have 12 million people log on at one time. And so these people were signed up and they would come in for these appointments. All my staff worked through the pandemic. They wore masks, they wore gowns from day one. They insisted on staying there. But when one person in the room would actually get their claim to go through, everybody in the room would start clapping for them and telling them, I'm so glad you were able to do it. Because these were people that lost their jobs overnight. I mean, basically, we saw the pandemic coming, but then when it hit, it was like, everything closed down because nobody knew what to do. In the beginning, we didn't have all these other medicines. So, it just told me that there weren't people in the room going, well, how'd she get in and I didn't get in? They were happy for them. And so we've seen the very best of humanity, even in bad times. Bay County is really a unique place in that way. It's growing every day, but it still has sort of a small town feel. And that network and partners I was talking about, it's so important to build that network because in times where you need people, I mean, I think I could call you and you would immediately do whatever I needed you to do if it was within your realm of possibility.
If I could help you, I would.
And so I feel that way about a lot of the partners we have in Bay County.
We were talking a little bit about how much you like this community. I think you love it, don't you?
I do. I love Bay County. Personally, I feel like we've had great leadership at our county level. I've been very pleased with the way they handled some of the challenges that we've faced.
We've had a couple.
I think they've poised us for growth. They work with Becca really, really well. We have gotten, as a result of that, we've gotten an awful lot of Triumph grants to sort of seed fund these businesses, which, is the oil spill funds. It's not taxpayer money, it's oil spill funds. But you have to use a county or another municipality to apply for those funds, and our county has just stepped up to the plate every time. So Becca's got good partners here, but I feel like they've poised Bay County for growth. And we're bringing in these jobs that are good-paying jobs, and you see a lot of great new housing going up. So I feel like we're going in a positive manner, and I'm very optimistic about the future of Bay County.
Again, I'm not trying to lean too much on your experience, but you've seen more than 1 or 2 years worth of the idea of helping employees get employed through employers, and so you know what that atmosphere looks like. I don't disagree with you at all. I think we happen to live in I'm probably a little prejudiced here, but I think we live in the best part of the best state. And there's lots of reason to be excited about the days ahead and to be excited about the place that we live. And if you're one of those that are wanting us to hold that secret tight to the vest, I just want you to know that as a team, we're trying our best to provide a place where your children and your grandchildren will have a good quality of life, a good standard of living, and have a high enough paying job that they can stay close by. So there's a lot of bright stuff ahead. Thank you so much for being my guest today, Kim.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Help us encourage others by sharing this content. You can also like it, and certainly we would love it if you subscribe to the content so you can be one of the first to get the new episode when it drops.